Enid, sit. Good. Let's try this one. Down. Good job. Okay. How'd you like that?
Oh, smooth.
Slick. Sounds like dog aggressive type behavior, obviously. Now here's the thing, so when it comes to rehoming dogs, you know, if the dog has had any human aggression issues, typically that's out of the question, obviously. But as far as dog aggression issues, you know, you just got to find the right person for it. Because here's the thing, like, yes, these things can be trained and made better with, you know, proper guidance and stuff like that. But if you're going to be rehoming the dog, obviously the dog will still be displaying that behavior, obviously. So you're just going to need to find somebody that, you know, is going to be in a single dog household, obviously, or a rescue that's willing to take her on for that. As far as recommendations and stuff, you know, unfortunately we get calls like this all the time. So it's not like we don't really have, like, you know, obviously like a list of people lined up to take dogs like this by any means. You know, your best bet, I always tell everybody, is just to reach out to local rescue organizations and stuff. Like if you just search like Cleveland Rescues and just start making some calls, there are a decent amount of them out there that will take owner surrender cases, and then they'll put, you know, the resources into the dog, obviously, to you know, try to get it adoptable or try to find a home for it and stuff. But you know, obviously just the process of rehoming dogs out, it's so difficult. So there's no like guarantee of like reach out to this person or reach out to this person, you know. Let's do this long line. Come on, bud. Okay, so we're gonna start with the long line this time, and then we will fade it out completely. Give you that. That's right. Come. Good. Okay. Come. Good. Okay. Come. Good. Bro.
He's like, I can't get up.
Okay. Come. Good. So we're going to do these now off of the leash altogether. If I could lose him. Come. Good. Okay. Come. Good. Okay. Come. Good. Come. Good. Not too shabby, buddy. Go work. Go work. Awesome. All right, so it looks pretty good. So what we're gonna do next here is we're gonna start adding a little bit of duration into this. So what I mean by that is all of our other commands we've done so far, you've seen we don't use a stay command. We put them into command and they hold that command until we say okay. Come is exactly the same. So come is the position of being next to me. So if I tell him come but don't tell him okay after, it's expected he stays with me as I move around, right? So this is like our walking command. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give that come command, start doing laps around the room, and at this point if he stopped following me, I would tell him no and give a correction. Come. I'll just do a couple laps doing this.
He's like, well, where's my cookie at?
Now with this, it's fine if he's a little slow and lagging. Yeah, my only criteria right now is that he doesn't come to a complete stop or go off to something else. No, come. Once he stops, that's where I would give that no marker.
And it's no.
No tap. No, come. Good. So that time he did it well going around. So if he does pretty well, I'll stop, make sure he stabilizes next to me, then I give my reward for that. And we'll do this again. Come. Yeah, Come.
Is he the golfer, his son?
Charlie? Oh yeah. Yeah, for 12 years old, he's like incredible. Like everybody's saying like he's gonna be like a prodigy. Good. Good work, big guy. All right, what do we got here? Perfect. Okay. He's like, am I done? He's like, I don't even want to go near that chair. Looks good. So he's picking it up well. A little bit of work to do still with it. He's still very early and stuff though. So today I kind of, good job, buddy. Good job. I tried to be a little easier on him today. Obviously bring the food back into it because he did well last time, but we had to put a lot of pressure on him last time. So we'll probably continue to do that through next session as well. Just really motivate him with these individual commands a little bit more, you know? But he looks awesome. He's doing really, really good.
Okay.
You look like you're dressed for it to be like 10 degrees colder than it is right now.
Yeah, I thought that.
Down. Good. Where are you going?
Back there, turf.
Go for it. Good. Millie, come. Down. Good. Good. Did you get that? Come. Down. So what's new? Anything? How's he doing?
He's been doing really, really well. Like, we were killing the sit stay.
Yeah? Sweet.
Down to the end of like the property and back.
Yeah? Good.
Down.
Distractions at all, or?
Yes, but not. The only time we had like an issue is when there was like other dogs in the picture.
I gotcha.
In like a play setting.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And then when he's not on leash, we were doing a lot of them like in the house too. It's not as solid off leash.
Yeah.
But
Right now, the only expectation is on leash until we get the come command established. Once we have the come command established, we'll start generalizing to off leash with all this. Good job. Okay, awesome. All right, so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna start his bed stay. Get this out of the way here. It's gonna be the same concept as what we did with the sits. So we're gonna be starting off with a continuous pressure on the e-collar, then transitioning to the single tap. So what I'm gonna do is before we do anything with the e-collar, I'm gonna do it with the leash a couple times first. Just make sure that I can get him over and onto the bed. Good. Okay. And I'll just do that a few times first. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Come on, bud. Okay. Good. Okay. So I just want to see some of that resistance go away before we add the e-collar into this. Obviously.
that wasn't like a raw.
No. That was like snorting. Okay, yeah. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Okay, all right, so we're gonna start adding the e-collar and the verbal command in here next. Start really low, start at like a 3 for this. I'm gonna walk up to the bed, I'll tell him bed. If he doesn't get on, I'm gonna hold the button down, help him on, and release once he gets 4 paws on the bed. Okay. Bed. This one can be a little repetitive initially until they get it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's hard because like we've patterned in staying in the heel position, sitting in the heel position, et cetera, et cetera. So getting him to kind of reverse that mentality a little bit here. Bed can be challenging for them. Good. Good job, buddy. Okay, but usually once they start getting it, it kind of clicks and becomes really easy. So we'll probably be, that one was probably a fluke, but in the next couple reps here.
When I say bed,
Bed.
time to go in the cage at the end of the night. It might be
Good. Yeah, it's just them kind of figuring it out and figuring out the pattern. Okay, come on. Bed. Good. His last 3 or 4, no e-collar, obviously. Okay, if he does it on his own, that's the goal. Bed. Good. Okay. Now this is where I kind of use this like autopilot state of mind that he's getting into to our advantage, you know? I'm letting him just do it, you know? I probably don't even need to say anything, and he's starting to figure out the pattern and just going to it. Like, that's fine, you know? He's being successful with it. Okay, there's no need to try to change it up. We'll see a lot of people, as soon as they hit this point with the dog, they'll go up to the bed, and then when the dog goes to do it before they say it, they'll be like, no, and then like correct him for it. It's like, why, right? Like, he's figuring out the routine of what it is that's expected at this point. You know, later on when we add in other commands and stuff, bed. Good. You know, then we'll start making him wait and process, understanding the difference between them and all that. Okay, right now I just want him to be successful, that's it. Bed. You see that one creating even more distance. Initially, as you're working on this the first week, I try to not go any further than like a leash length.
Okay.
So. Okay, come on. Try to tighten up that correction on the walks a little bit with the marking, and then just obviously no, then tap, no, then tap. Just keep that in mind with it, obviously. And then add your bed staying at home, and I want to see that start to look really good. Okay. And then assuming all that looks good when you come back, we'll probably start the come command here next. Start getting into some off-leash stuff.
Okay.
So he looks great.
So he was going to daycare at Metrobark. He wasn't neutered.
Is he neutered now?
He's neutered now. So they technically weren't going to let him come, but they were like, you know what, we'll just watch him. And there was another dog that was not neutered there. And anyways, they like got at it, and they were like, maybe he can't come back.
Can't come anymore.
Right, and so we were like, okay, well, we'll get him neutered, and maybe we can try again, because he's never shown any, he plays hard because he's
sure.
old.
Yeah.
So he's a puppy, but other than that, so we're like, hey, maybe we need to find somewhere else.
There's the teeth.
Yeah. Oh, it's like every day. That is the view. So yeah, so we're just looking to ideally trying to get him back into a daycare routine.
Yeah.
I've got a baby at home.
Yeah.
Working from home. It's a lot. So he loves to play. He plays with Charlie a lot.
I was gonna say, Alex referred you?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
She's talked highly of you every time we've gone on walks.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, this makes sense.
Sweet.
So here we are.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so what I want to do today, basically, Scott does good training, obviously. 9 out of 10 times the dogs are fine when they come in. I just like to check the box that, so we do like, our daycare is more of an enrichment daycare than an actual daycare. So it's not obviously a free-for-all where dogs are out all the time. We do structured walking with them, we do structured training with them, and then we do structured playtime with them. So I want to take a look at, obviously, those 3 things and just make sure everything looks good to go. Assuming it does, green light, obviously. All right, I'll take the leash from you real quick if you don't mind. Squeeze past. I will take that from you as well. Thank you. I'm going to be squeezing past you guys here just so you know. All right, so he did overall pretty good with the training?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes, on leash.
Yep.
Good.
Sweet. Have you had any issues with anything since he's been back?
No, not really. I mean, I think if anything, when I push the stroller, if there's a dog that barks at the stroller, he gets a little defensive.
All right.
But yeah, he's never shown aggression or anything. So I think it kind of like threw us, but we were like, oh, maybe it's because you're a puppy and you weren't neutered.
Yeah. Yeah. When you say when you said he got into the issue at daycare, did they say what happened?
They said that he went after one of the dogs, and it was like the same dog. And he but that's it. And I'm like, can I see a video? Because like I can't. Not to say that you're lying.
No.
But I just can't sit.
Go Good.
He does a lot of off-leash, like, play dates and stuff with dogs, and so he's always running around.
Yeah, and you've never had an issue with him with another dog?
Issue, not
okay.
one.
A lot of times when I hear scenarios like this, and you know, to no fault to the place, but it's more of an environmental issue than it is a dog issue, you know? I mean, you get into some of these daycares and just, one, the amount of dogs that they have out the whole time. Two, it's a long day for the dogs while they're there, obviously. You know, the idea of the traditional daycare, in my opinion, is very quickly dying because people are realizing how unrealistic it is to have like 50 to 75 dogs out for 12 hours, you know?
Well, and then getting worried too that he went through all this training and then it's like,
it's gonna slide back and
then
stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
You can't have, especially with a baby, where he's so good with our son.
Good.
Like he's too sweet. It's so we just want to maintain that.
Yeah, for sure. So that, and then, you know, just when they're in that large of a group, your attention is always so split, like you're going to miss something. So like it very well may have been like they saw the aftermath of it, but like he may have had nothing to do with starting it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's hard to say. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with just a little bit of healing, obviously. So I'm assuming you just use your heel command for this. Perfect. Heel. So I'll have you walk on my right-hand side. We're just going to take him for a little stroll here. And I'm just going to just enforce this how we typically would on the walk to make sure he has a good understanding of it. Overwhelm yourself with maintaining everything if you try to focus on everything all the time. Where, you know, even with my dogs, there are things I use frequently and there are things I don't use frequently. And the things that I don't use frequently, I don't really worry about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really walk my dogs that much. We have a really large backyard. We go back there and play and stuff, you know. So I don't spend a lot of time enforcing those things with them because we don't do it very much. But we're gonna make it right here. We use our bed stay all the time, right? Or our place command in his case, obviously, right? When we have guests come over, while we're doing different household tasks, stuff like that. So we spend a lot of time drilling that with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my favorite thing that came out of training.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, because he, you know, and also like, so he wouldn't jump on people, and the place command has been a lifesaver.
Yep. You know, then past that, as far as, you know, the consistency in which we actually use the e-collar, right? That's another one where post-training, we typically really draw, you know, Scott does and we do as well, you know, just have the e-collar on like pretty much all the time, you know, which is good initially because there's a lot of training opportunities that will present themselves, but long term, again, that's a daunting task of like, God, like we're constantly forgetting and this and that, and it's like, so we forgot to put it on in the morning, then suddenly we really need it and it's not ready, you know? So I make a couple of rules for myself in which I always put the e-collar on my dogs and don't really worry about it 9 out of 10 times outside of that. We'll make it right here. And those 3 situations are if we're going off leash anywhere, if we're having anybody come over the house, or if we go anywhere public outside of the house, right? Those 3 situations, we 100% of the time still to this day put the e-collars on our dogs. And outside of that, when we're just hanging out in the house, I don't worry about it as much unless I'm having a particular problem with something, you know? And those are kind of 3 things where if you make those rules, again, it's much, much easier for you to be consistent about long term and stay on top of, and then you never really run into situations where you're caught off guard and can't do anything about it, you know? Because those are the 3 scenarios. We'll make it right here as well. Hello. Those are the 3 scenarios where if your dog's going to blow you off, it's typically going to be in one of those 3, you know? This is Hercules.
I won't acknowledge him.
Well, he's like, wait, am I allowed to? What's going on here? Yeah, so for the daycare, for the social time, we basically what we'll do is we'll kind of hand select certain dogs we think would be like a really good match for them, you know. So right now, obviously I kind of picked a pretty easygoing, laid back guy to see how he does with that. And then as we kind of get a read off of what his play style and everything is, we'll bring dogs out that'll kind of match that intensity, you know. But initially, like the first couple times dogs start coming, especially if we don't know them very well, if they came from another training company or something, but our initial criteria is we want to essentially get kind of the respect side of things established established first, which is why we started with the walk, we started with the training and everything, and I made sure he knew I was kind of in charge right now, right? So that when you put them together, you could let things play out, and you could supervise it, and know that we already have kind of one ear turned to us if we need to intervene for whatever reason.
Yep.
Yeah, he would have. So this is the kind of stuff I like to see, is how he responds to correction and stuff, you know, from other dogs.
Yeah.
If he takes those hints, once he starts getting crazy, if he could de-escalate on his own.
This is where he like has his mood where he's just wild. It's around our backyard for 5 minutes nonstop.
Yep. You know, like, if he has controlled zoomies, I don't care. A lot of times what we'll find, though, when dogs get like that is you lose complete control over the dog when they get into that state of mind. You know what I mean? They're just so tuned out, just zipping all over the place. And if they're inside, they're usually like treating your living room like a jungle gym. If they're outside, they're jumping on people and stuff. So as we kind of create some boundaries to it, again, a lot of times what we'll find is they'll have some zoomies still, but we'll see everything kind of balance out, where there's not these like spikes of ridiculous uncontrollable arousal. You know, he kind of learns to moderate it a little bit better, which is what we're looking for. So, you know, it's cute and funny until it's like you're saying, he's knocking people over and he's pissing all the dogs off. And
absolutely, I think that's the thing that worries me when we call it like, oh, he's in a mood.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Like, get him outside.
Yeah.
He's gonna knock our son over.
Yeah, 100%.
Out of control. And he would never hurt him because he's like so sweet with him, but when he's in that setting, that mindset, he is like completely unstoppable.
Yeah. I really think, you know, like I said, everything seems good. Like, he definitely can come to daycare. I really think I would like to see you, you know, from a training standpoint, though, this next week, I'd really like to see you get on him a little bit for some of these behavioral issues, you know? Because I think you're going to find it's going to be, like we were talking about, the training and maintaining all the training can be so daunting sometimes. And if you could just get some of these things under control, which is what we really care about, everything becomes easier.
Yeah. Cool.
Out of curiosity, the situations, you said he's bitten a couple of people. What were the scenarios that it happened?
So they're usually around like him being territorial. But like, for instance, like he gets really territorial over the couch, for instance, but then like he'll lunge at you, like if he's just sitting near the couch, like all of a sudden it changes. It's like I go to all this work to like get him off the couch, and this, I was on a walk with him, and I have him on like this like very intense collar. It's like this black thing that like pinches if he pulls against it. I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah. And like we saw some people, I had him sit down, he sat, people wanted to pet him, I said no, and as we're like getting up to walk away, he's like very tight to me. He like turned around and nipped at this kid. Like just all was well. He has nipped at like two kids in our home in the face. One of them was like playing with cars, which was like behind the couch, and he was like doing his guarding of the couch. This was the first inclination we had. He would like go be that way around the couch. But the first night we had him, we let dogs in our bed. Like and he was like growling at me and my husband. We were terrified to like move. And it's pretty much after that, he's not allowed in the bed. But soon it's like, he's not going to be allowed anywhere. We've kids in and out all day. I'm like so terrified he's going to like get out and attack someone. We can't have like fences. So we have an invisible fence, but I feel like he's like a liability at this point. It's really getting scary. Yeah, for sure. So is he still acting aggressively towards the immediate family members, or is it just towards outside people at this point? Oh, no. It's my son, my husband. Yeah. He growled at like our sitter, who's like there every set. Like we have her twice a week with our special needs child.
Yeah.
I don't know what we should do.
Yeah, no, it's a very tough situation that you guys are in. So we get calls like this from people, not all the time, but frequently enough that I completely get the emotional struggle that it kind of causes. So here's kind of the problem, right? Like, in my opinion, could we realistically get this dog to a place where, he was a little better with these issues and with proper management, it wasn't as much of a problem and this and that? Like, yeah, maybe, like we work with difficult dogs, we work with dogs like this, and, we've had success with them and stuff. But the problem is, in my opinion, you can't really rehome a dog like this. Because, like, look at, like, I could hear it in your voice, like, how fearful you guys are of, like, what could possibly happen with this dog, you know what I mean? And then you're going to take the dog and put it into a new environment that they're going to be even more stressed out and uncomfortable in, which is going to just exacerbate the issues, which is then just passing that liability onto somebody else and making it then more intense. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that's the toughest part with this kind of stuff is in my opinion, the rehoming them is almost not an option, because it's just putting somebody else in a vulnerable position then. You know what I mean? And, there's, I wish there was, but there's just not these like unicorn owners out there that just, are adopting dogs that, have aggression issues, that are like, I want to adopt this dog and have a project dog. Like, most people looking for a dog, unfortunately, are looking for what you guys are looking for, which is just a companion, a dog they could have friends and family come over and not be worried about things with, and, have their kids have their friends come over and not be concerned that, somebody's going to get bit and they're going to get sued or something. So I completely empathize with you. I know how hard the situation is, but I really don't think this is a dog you're going to be able to successfully rehome. And I know just from rescues and stuff we work with, most rescues out there will not touch a dog that has a bite record or has aggression issues. And yes, I completely agree with you. Like, if this dog had these issues, and somebody knew about it, right? So like the ethics of like the rescue rehoming the dog, like that's a whole nother conversation that I'm 100% on your side with, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen again with this dog,
Do you know of like medication that works? Or?
I wish it did. I really do. But 9 out of 10 times, this kind of stuff, medication suppresses behavioral issues, but it doesn't resolve them. You know what I mean? So like, sure, like hypothetically, you could dope the dog out of his mind for the rest of his life and basically turn him into a zombie and reduce the chances of stuff like this happening. But even when we have clients that reach out to us that have dogs like this, a lot of them have tried tons of medication in the past without any success, because usually they're training related issues. You know what I mean? They're not necessarily medical related issues, but there is a genetic component to, like you were saying, like you're fighting against this dog's nature to some extent, right? And that, could have something to do with, something that happened to him before this or that, or it could just be a lot of times with dogs like this, there's just like genetic miswirings that they have, that causes them to be so like erratic and so, unpredictable with things. And again, even the people that are successful with these dogs, it's a long-term forever management game with them, you never completely eliminate the chances of something happening or the liability associated with it.